Listen to
This is a brave man.
Inside SA Soccer with Brad Jakes, exclusive to Omnisport, where Africa comes to play.
Now that's a garage match.
Listen live now and on demand at omniaudio.africa.
Welcome to Inside SA Soccer with me, Brad Jakes, and it's African football time. South Africa, we know Orlando Pirates, Mamelodi Sundowns, and Stellenbosch FC are through to the quarterfinals. But there's something fascinating about this. The coaches who sit on the benches of the 16 clubs that are going to participate in the quarterfinals do not necessarily come from Africa. A lot of them are from Europe. And the clubs, there's actually a very few numbers of coaches who are locals at their clubs. And Comrade David Legge is going to help us just understand what's happening here. Comrade, good morning and welcome to our show. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Brad Jakes.
Yeah, what's happening? I know that we say football is a global sport and anybody can work everywhere. But why is it that our clubs do not have their local coaches?
Yeah, it's amazing, Brad Jakes. When I saw this list, it at first I assumed a lot of the clubs would be coached by coaches from their own country. Not a chance. Yeah. In fact, only 2 of the 16, both in the Confederation Cup, are coached. And one of them is our very own Steve Barker. The other is Kiradine Maddow, not particularly well known. He's an Algerian and he coaches Constantine of Algeria. Let's look at the Champions League first. You said all over the world. Well, particularly Europe. You got 2 Portuguese coaches. Alexandra Santos coaches FAR Rabat, and of course here in South Africa, Miguel Cardoso is coaching Mamelodi Sundowns. Yes. You got a Swiss coach at Al Ahly, Marcel Kohler, going for a hat-trick, trying to overtake our own Pizzo Massimani. You got a Croatian coach of Pyramids. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name.
The name ends with H, I'm sure.
And similarly at Esperance have got a Croatian, my apologies, a Romanian coach, and that's a real tongue twister. I don't want the Romanian embassy after us, Brad Jakes. You have a Tunisian coach and a Congolese coach, but here's the catch. The Tunisian coach is actually Ben Yahya, and he's in charge of Mouloudia Alger, who of course are going to play Orlando Pirates. So he's an African coach, but he's not coaching a Tunisian club. He's coaching in Algeria. And then we've got the great Florent Ibenge. He's the coach of Al Hilal of Sudan. So Congolese coach, but coaching a club from Sudan. And just to make it particularly complicated, their home ground, of course, currently is Nouakchott in Mauritania because of the Sudanese civil war. So that's the Champions League sort of puzzle, so to speak.
You didn't add the Spaniard, Orlando Pirates, Jose Rivera as well.
Hey, Ivan Koza, don't give him my number, please. Of course,
Rivera will come after you.
Yes, he's the Spanish coach. So altogether, we got 2 Portuguese coaches, a Spaniard, a Croatian, a Swiss, a Romanian, a Tunisian, and a Congolese.
That's
okay,
United
you can
Nations.
repeat that after me 5 times, please.
No, don't even try.
Now, in the Confederation Cup, we have Steve Barker, South African, coaching Stellenbosch of South Africa.
Bravo.
Very simple, straightforward, yeah. And of course, he's a relative of the late, great Clive Barker, who led us to, meaning Bafana Bafana, to the 1996 Africa Cup of Nations, yeah. Then we've got Madoui from Algeria. He's coaching CS Constantine. They're another one to watch. They've done quite well. They're in this competition for the first time. Okay. But that's where it ends, Brad Jakes. You do have some other African coaches, but they're not coaching in their home country. And the first one we go to is Fadlu Davids. Now, Fadlu Davids, South African, but he's coaching Simba of Tanzania. Yeah, in fact, he's having a battle royal at the moment with young Africans on the domestic front, 4 points behind, but they've played 1 game less. Yeah. And in the Confederation Cup, they play Al Masry of Egypt in the quarterfinals. We then move on to Renaissance Berkane, absolute giants in the Confederation Cup. Last 6 seasons, twice winners and twice runners-up. And to me, joint favourites with Zamalek to win this competition this season. They're coached by Chabani. Now, Chabani is from Tunisia. So, Tunisian coach in Morocco. Next, we go to USM Alger of Algeria. They're coached by Paque. Now, he's a Brazilian. And that's interesting because you'd normally find one or two South American coaches. They drift into Africa. Do you remember Filoni?
Luis Oscar Filoni.
He was at Sundowns. And he coached ASIC and Raja Casablanca on consecutive years to win the CAF Champions League. Unfortunately, now deceased. He died in Morocco some years ago. So that's USM. So that's an Algerian club, but a Brazilian coach. And then you got Zamalek. Hey, Jakes. But Jakes, it's difficult to keep up with Zamalek. You need a weekly update.
They change their coaches like some people change their socks, really. Every day. It's hectic there.
Yeah. Halfway in fact, not even halfway through the Egyptian season yet, and they've already had 3 coaches. Not 1 or 2, but 3. The latest incumbent is Jose Peseiro of Portugal. No truth in the rumor that he's insisted he gets paid 6 months in advance, just in case.
Just in case.
Now, Peseiro has got a good background in Africa because he took Nigeria to the 2024 Africa Cup of Nations final. I know Nigerians will say, but we didn't win it. Yes, but you finished second out of 24. That's a pretty impressive performance because remember, the Super Eagles didn't begin that tournament particularly well. And they were a little bit unfortunate in the final that they had to play the host nation, Ivory Coast, not only playing 11 footballers, but 60,000 in the stands.
Peseiro is the guy who earns $75,000 a month.
That's right. And if he stays till next season, I repeat, if he stays, he's going up to $85,000. Now, if my maths are right, in Rand, that's $1.5 million a month. Yeah.
Why am I doing
this
so when I should be coaching?
Yeah, so he goes to the best restaurants in Cairo, that's for sure. Yeah. So he's in charge of Zamalek. The one thing with him, of course, is he's under huge pressure. Zamalek have won the competition twice, and they're one of those clubs where finishing second is considered failure. And for some time now, they've been overshadowed by Al Ahly. That is the biggest rivalry in African football, club rivalry, And another problem now for Zamalek is pyramids are the rising force. They're leading the Egyptian league. Ahly are second and Zamalek are only third. Now, the worst for Zamalek is normally second place. Right now, they're even behind Ahly in second place. So, Peseiro, he's going to earn that. He's going to earn that money by the time he's finished. Now we move on to Al Masry. Now, Al Masry did have an Egyptian coach, Ali Maher. So they were one of the 3, so to speak, but now it's only 2 because Anis Boujalbane is a Tunisian. He has replaced Maher.
Yeah. That's fascinating. I mean, what do you think is the reason for all this? Why is it that the clubs do not have their local coaches?
Yeah, I think, Brad Jakes, it's partly, it's a mental thing. Every time a local coach gets a chance in Africa, once he loses a couple of matches, they never seem to think of another local coach. Bring somebody in from Europe. Now, we've had some great European coaches. I think immediately of Hervé Renard of France, and of course the White Witch Doctor himself, Philippe Troussier. Yeah. But Jakes, we've also had chancers, Plenty of
call
chancers.
Them plumbers. They
plumbers,
come from Europe as a plumber. They get here. I mean, the great Paul Dolezal, he came to South Africa. He had coached, of course, in Gabon. But when you went and checked in France, he was a train ticket examiner. So he came here. I mean, that's that. There was a guy who came. No, I promise you. And then there was Emilio Jair Mazzoni. I don't know if you remember him. A Brazilian who came and coached Morocco Swallows. Yeah. And he said he was a national team coach. But in Brazil, he coached the beach football team. He didn't coach the real football team.
Yeah,
so
exactly. I
went to a lot of chances.
Yeah, I went to Turffontein to interview him. And he told me he was the national coach of Canada. I did my research and I couldn't find his name. I said, but hold on a minute. I don't see it. Oh, he said, no, it was the beach team.
So, but I mean, when you look at that, there's only 2 coaches with their local clubs.
Yeah, one of them is Steve Barker. Yeah.
You look at the quarterfinals, and is there an opportunity, a chance of any of those winning?
Well, that's the, I say unfortunate. I was hoping Stellenbosch would draw Simba. That would be my dream. I also wanted to see Steve Barker up against Fadlu Davids.
You know, it can happen.
The wily Barker against the young pretender. Yeah. Now look, if they do get through, they will meet in the semi-finals. But both have got tough ones, particularly Stellenbosch. They're up against Zamalek. I mean, the difference, Brad Jakes, is huge. Zamalek have won 13 CAF titles. 13. Stellenbosch are absolute babes. They're just they're paddling in the water.
Yeah,
they're not quite sure if they're going to sink or swim. This is their first season in Africa. I think they've already exceeded expectations.
Of course, they've done
They had to get past V Club just to qualify for the group stage, and then they had to get past Stade Malien of Mali, a very experienced team, and former winners of the Confederation Cup, to get to the quarterfinals. Well, Zamalek is going to be great in the sense it'll be a real reality check. They're going to come up against giants. Now, let's see how good are Stellenbosch. Yeah. On the other hand, Constantine, they
too are newbies in the competition.
They're newbies, yeah. I right now, maybe it's just too obvious to me, but I think it's heading towards a Zamalek-Berkane final. But we have one big problem. We've mentioned it previously on your show. It looks like USM Alger are going to play Berkane in the semi-finals. Now, remember what happened last year with the map of Morocco on the shirts of Berkane. When they went to Algeria, those shirts were confiscated because Algeria don't recognize that Morocco are entitled to be in control of the Western Sahara.
Yeah, sure.
Western Sahara, largely desert, but the curse of Africa, as usual, minerals. They've got big phosphate reserves, and Morocco, obviously, they want them. Yeah, well, not only do they want them, they have them. Yeah. They don't control all of Western Sahara, but surprise, surprise, they do control the area where the phosphate reserves are. The Algerians, on the other hand, they say Western Sahara should be an independent country, and they back them to the hilt. It's really bad. They've got no diplomatic relations at the moment, Morocco and Algeria, although they are brothers, in quotes. They're right beside each other. They're in the north. And Moroccan aircraft cannot fly over Algeria. And although I can't be certain, and I've got to be sure on your show, I believe it's probably a reciprocal arrangement. So, no love lost between...
So should they meet? Where would they play?
To me, there's only there's one solution, Brad Jakes, and I hope CAF are on the ball with this one, because it's pretty certain that they're both going to qualify. That is, you take it to a neutral, you could take it to, let each club choose their own neutral venue, or CAF say, right, we'll play both matches in Cairo, or we'll play both matches in, say, Tunis, But we can't have a repeat of last year. That was a farce.
Yeah, sure.
Berkane in the end had 2 3-0 victories. That's what goes down in the record books. But neither match actually took place. And to this day, there's a lot of anger, I know, in Algeria about the situation, and that Moroccan officials influence CAF, blah, blah, blah. But I do hope, sometimes CAF, they've improved under Patrice Motsepe, but are they proactive enough? There is a really strong chance. USM are playing Constantine. It's an Algerian derby, so to speak. They are favourites. And Berkane are playing ASIC Mimosas, and they are favourites. At least assume that both teams will qualify for the semi-finals.
And start planning.
As they say in Afrikaans in South Africa, mark a plan.
So just remind our listeners and viewers of the dates, because we've spoken about this quarterfinals. We looked at the coaches that they have. Just when this will happen.
Brad Jakes, the Champions League first legs are April the 1st. The second legs are April the 8th. Okay. Right. So 1st and 8th. The Confederation Cup, first legs April the 2nd, second legs April the 9th. So one day after the Champions League, you've got the Confederation Cup. Then later in April, you have the semi-finals, also home and away. And then in May, you have the finals. And right through the competition, it's home and away. Remember that disastrous situation where CAF decided to have one-match finals? What a silly idea.
I mean, the bigger mess, I think, was when they got Pitso and his Al Ahly to go play Wydad in Morocco. I mean, that still rankles because Pitso could easily have won a third successive Champions League title, but Mr. Motsepe and his people did what they did.
Yes. Pitso has not spoken very highly about that situation, but I'm not. This is a family program. We're not going to repeat what he said.
Yeah. Thank you so much, comrades, for making time with us here. We really appreciate this insight. I mean, it's fascinating to know now that there's only 2 coaches who are coaching in their home country for these 16 teams that are in the quarterfinals of the CAF Interclubs. Thank you so much.
Listen to
This is a brave man.
Inside SA Soccer with Brad Jakes, exclusive to Omnisport, where Africa comes to play.
Now that's a garage match.
Listen live now and on demand at omniaudio.africa.